Hello neighbors, it's Brad here at eTrailer, and today we're taking a look at the Airlift WirelessAIR air tank and compressor system for rear airbags. And this is going to be a great system if you have any brand of airbags on your truck. And today we have it on a Chevy 2500, but this is going to be pretty much the same for your Dodge, Ford, or really anything that has airbags that you want to have onboard compression and a nice tank to hold some of that air. Now this system is going to be one that you're going to want to set up for a dual path system only, meaning individual control of each bag. And that's because we have two quick connect fittings here that go to each individual bag. Now with this, it's really nice because with a controller, you're able to wirelessly adjust your air pressure from inside your vehicle or outside your vehicle if you'd like to. And if your batteries die in the controller, not to worry, there's an app that will also control it. With a dual path system, it is really nice because you'll be able to not only level the rear of the vehicle, but also if you have a load that is maybe off to one side or the other, you can counterbalance that with individual controls. So raising up one side or the other will even that out for you. And compressor is going to be a fairly small size, allowing you to really mount it up on your frame rail or really anywhere underneath that's away from exhaust or anything like that. It's really quiet when it operates too, which is nice. And we just use some self-tapping screws to get this mounted up. It's got a filter that you can run to a remote location. That way you don't have to worry about water getting into it. It's got a nice braided line that will connect us to our 2-gallon air tank, which is a nice black powder coat finish. And this has not only a PRV, it's got a drain on the bottom, which is really nice. It even has a separator attached to it, which is something you don't always see with compressor kits. And also, I have an extra fitting back here for auxiliary fill-ups. Those auxiliary fill-ups are going to be really nice because you get a coiled cable, and that's going to allow you to get an air chuck on here to fill up tires, soccer balls, or anything that you may need to get air pressure to. And this one we actually mounted up in a nice little spot here right in front of the rear tire, so it's kind of out of sight, but it allows you to hook this up and have quite a bit of length to be able to fill up tires or, again, any of those sports balls you may have. Our compressor also has a thermal overload protection, so whether it's too cold or too hot, it's going to put itself in a safety mode. That way you're not going to burn up the compressor. It's also nice too because we have manual fill valves still on the back, so if anything was to fail temporarily, you're still able to get your bags filled up, so not to worry there. And this compressor is pretty heavy duty. It's again pretty quiet when it runs, but you can get 200 psi with a flow rate of 1.76 CFM. So it's pretty solid. The duty cycle at 72 degrees Fahrenheit and 100 psi is going to be 100. So at 72 degrees and 200 psi, it's at 50%. But having that 2-gallon storage tank is really nice because that compressor doesn't have to do a whole lot. This stores quite a bit of air, so unless you're making a ton of adjustments, fully filling your bags and bleeding them out, the compressor's not going to have to run the whole time. And that's really something that you don't see too often in some airbag systems, is really that compressor is going to be running the whole time. And it's loud, it's nothing too bad, but that's going to put a little bit of strain on that, whereas having a reserve tank is really nice. Now the brains of the operation and where the name WirelessAIR comes in is this manifold, and you have the plug that goes into it. The wire harness that runs to everything is all wrapped together in one, so you don't have to run this into the cab of your vehicle. It's really nice because once you get all your systems in place, you just wire that up with the harness that's already there, and then you route the rest to the engine bay where you tie in a 12-volt power, and you can choose to tie this to an ignition source. That way the compressor's only going to kick on when the vehicle's running. But again, with the brains of the operation, this is really where it sets itself aside. Not only are you getting wireless control with the app, but also it's going to hold air pressure within a 3 psi range. So you can get your preset level, and it's going to adjust it to keep that pressure for you. So even if you have a small leak, not to worry, it's going to keep that there. With the controller, you're going to get a quick readout of what your PSI is at. So right now we have 11 in both. If I wanted to go to the right side, I just push my arrow over. You'll see that on the right side of the truck. I can then raise that up. We'll just put it to 20 here, and with the stored air in our tank, it's going to begin filling that. Not only are you going to be able to control the air pressure individually with this, with a nice readout, you'll know exactly what your PSI is, but also if you do have slow leaks, it's going to let you know. And also if you have any faults, it's going to let you know. So that's something with airbags. Sometimes you just don't know if it's leaking or not until you realize you have to fill your bags quite a bit. And this is going to give you that first indication. It's also got presets too. So if you have a certain trailer that you want to set on preset 1 at certain PSIs, you can do that very easily. There's 3 total presets. So depending on how many trailers you may have, that means that when you hop in your vehicle, push a button and it's going to set it to exactly where you put it. Overall, I think this is a fantastic system if you do have dual path and you have different loads that you haul all the time. Our truck today has a B&W Companion 5th wheel, so he uses that for an RV quite regularly. So when you're normally driving, you know, he can put that down to the minimum of 5 PSI, which he's got Airlift bags on here, and that's the minimum, which is really nice because the lowest setting you can do on here is 5. So it's gonna maintain that minimum amount of pressure in the bags, prolonging the life of those. But just having the control at the touch of your fingers, not having to stop somewhere to fill up manually or make adjustments on the fly is really, really easy. Bags are great, but when you come to compressor systems, there's some of them that have the analog switch that you have to run inside the vehicle. It gets pretty cumbersome. You're having airlines run through there, and generally they're pretty large and hard to really get those to fit. So a lot of these wireless ones that are coming out are really great. They work really fantastic with the controllers, but also you can use your phone. So that's pretty neat too. So even if the kids get a hold of this and you lose it, not to worry, you can still operate your airbags. And from what I see, a lot of people with RVs, they're going out and buying compressors to have stowed away just in case they need to fill up a flat tire or something along those lines. Well, with onboard air, you don't have to worry about that because you have that auxiliary port to be able to fill up whatever you need to out on the road. So that kind of covers 2 things. If you're pulling a 5th wheel like our neighbor today, you don't have to pick up a compressor for that. You can simply use your tow vehicle as your onboard compressor. Another thing that I really like about this kit in particular is it is pretty easy to get installed. The hardest part is kind of getting those drilled into place, but we have a U-bolt that bolts up our manifold, which is really nice. The fact that the whole wiring is already kind of pre-done for you really takes a lot of the guesswork out. There's a little bit of having to do some butt connectors, but they come with heat shrink butt connectors. They come with inline fuse holders, so it's all very protected. It's all very good quality throughout. And overall, it's going to install pretty much the same on any truck. So if you do have dual path bags, this is definitely one that you're going to want to look at. So hopefully this helps decide if this is going to be the onboard compressor system with wireless technology for your vehicle. And that was a look at the Airlift wireless air compressor, tank, and Bluetooth technology for your airbags.